Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TNT Podcast. My name is Darren. This is Tuna, and we're doing a little bit of a kind of special edition here tonight. We've set it up as a Q&A, but it could just be us two lovely gentlemen talking to each other. So you get to hear our lovely voices as usual on the TNT Podcast. But for anybody that's listening out there, if you have a question, feel free to post it up in the chat on YouTube, and we will try to respond to every single question that we get tonight. So again, we're giving our unfiltered answers tonight. So if you want to know something, if you want our honest opinion on anything, absolutely, we would love to hear your questions. Just post them in the comments there on YouTube. And we would love to give you guys some feedback. While we're waiting for our first question, Tuna, I know we had a little chat yesterday on a live stream that you did, but I wanted to get back to talk a little bit about the Zenfone 10. So I've done a little bit more deep diving into the Zenfone 10 today.
Are you talking about the perfect smartphone of the year?
Perfect phone, yes. And a lot of these YouTubers are saying is the perfect device. Well, rather, and I find the wording of this kind of funny, the perfect small device, because of course they can't say it's the perfect device because that honor will only go to the S23 Ultra or the 14 Pro Max, especially if it's our very popular friend.
Well, and smartphones aren't very crowded. I think the only company I know making smartphones is Unihertz, and they make that jelly phone.
Yes.
And they keep bombarding with me my emails to get this new jelly phone that has an LED light on the back that blinks. Yes. Kind of like the nothing phone. But anyways.
Well, it was funny because I was watching the Mr. Who's the Boss interview with Carl Pei yesterday. Yes. That he put up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions he asked Carl Pei at the end of the interview was, what does it take to launch a smartphone? Like if you're going to make your own smartphone, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you caught it, but Carl Pei said you need to have about $200 to $300 million in revenue, money. And he was saying in that interview there, and if you haven't caught it, take a look at Mr. Who's the Boss on YouTube. But he was saying that a lot of the companies now, especially if you're a new brand, they want money up front. So normally it used to be, hey, we'll build your device. If you like it, you pay us, we have a deal. But now they're asking for money up front. So Carl Pei was saying, if you're going to try and make your own phone, you legitimately have to have money. You've got to have backers. You're going to have someone that's going to give you the funds.
Right. And they said they had to raise funds ahead of time because now, since COVID has really shut things down, I think if it's the same interview, I think I watched that video. He's saying that it used to be, a company would be, hey, I want to make a phone. They say, okay, what do you want? And then after you make a purchase order, then you pay. But now he's saying distributors and manufacturers are asking for the money up front. Like they want it before they make them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of like, it was interesting to hear him talk about his experience with nothing. And I mean, we know he's, tried and tested, whatever you want to say. He's proven himself as a smartphone maker.
Yeah.
But I'll also, a lot of the feedback I was reading today as well from a lot of people online was, and I forget who it was who mentioned it. It was just earlier on today. They were saying, is it okay for us to be paying $699, $599, whatever, for a phone that has last year's processor, and it's for the most part kind of an incremental upgrade? So because basically the price of the nothing phone has gone up, I think 30% or something.
Well, so are the specs too. They've really increased from last time too. Yeah.
True. And I mean, looking at, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the layout, they're using last year's Snapdragon Gen 1 Plus processor, which is fine. That's good. It works.
It's a decent processor, yeah.
The Sony IMX890 camera sensor, which is the same one that's on the OnePlus 11, which we'll get to in a second, because we've got some thoughts on that.
You forgot the OnePlus 11 Pro.
Sorry, OnePlus 11 Pro, because every phone needs to be Pro now. But yeah, like the specs are there, and I get it. And part of me wonders, and you posed this question yesterday, why are we interested in this slab phone? Like, what is it about this phone that gets our attention?
Oh, I know.
What?
Oh, you're asking me? Are you okay?
What is it? The lights?
I don't think it has anything to do with the lights. I think so he's very good at guerrilla marketing. He was like that with OnePlus too. OnePlus was really synonymous when they first started doing that lottery system, making it seem like it was a very wanted device. So
Yes.
I was kind of, I hate to say this, when I pre-ordered yesterday, I was kind of hoping it was like a Google situation where the website would shut down or wouldn't work. Cause then you're like, oh man, high demand. I swear Google does that on purpose.
Yeah.
But I think it's the guerrilla marketing because they're out there posting stuff on, someone will say, oh, it looks like this just like last year. And he would reply on Twitter with like a very ominous response saying, just wait. And
Yes.
we waited and it isn't that much different. It's very
No.
refined. It's very refined and it looks like it's better built, but it's also their second generation of phone. So I
Yes.
like how they kept it very similar, but you're right. Why did we pre-order it? And I don't know if anybody's listening, but did anybody pre-order besides us? I don't know.
Yeah, I like it makes me like part of me makes me think with the nothing phone. Have we fallen for a really good marketing campaign? Like, is this a Carl Pay? We remember OnePlus back in the day when it was having its heyday, and we're going,
Right.
all right, here we go. Here's a guy, this guy's promising the world, delivering on some of it. And granted, some people will love this phone. Some people will look at this phone and go, yeah, I dig it. But again, like, is where you can get much better devices for similar prices.
Yes, and I think that's where Nothing One was spectacular because I think it was at like $4.99 when it first released, and then when they did
Yes.
the beta program, which really wasn't that hard and really wasn't a beta program, you were basically paying for the phone,
Yeah.
but it was $2.99, and at
Yes.
$2.99 with a 778G, that can be forgiven. It's a
Yes.
mid-range processor from Snapdragon.
Yeah, but they weren't trying to. They even
Right.
said they weren't trying to be flagship, right?
But the experience seemed better than it was. So you're
Yes.
thinking, I just paid $300 for a phone that I know is a mid-range device, has some blinky lights, so I stand out a little bit,
Yeah.
but it felt premium in the fact that the software was smooth and optimized. The
Yes.
difference is I got all excited. Like I went on that website watching the presentation. As soon as I saw the pre-order button, I smashed it and got it. And then we got to talking last night. I'm like, man, I don't know. And then you brought up the issue, and I don't want to, break the egg too soon, but obviously we have Amazon Prime deals, which ends today, I
Yep.
believe. And OnePlus had released a phone towards the beginning of the year, the OnePlus 11 Pro, which if you're listening to this, you probably know who they are. If you're a general consumer, you're like, OnePlus what? Is this a
Yeah.
math problem?
Is that enough?
Yeah, it's Carl Pay's. Actually, he was a co-founder of them, and they've developed a lot of phones, but they had a special, at least in the US. I don't know what it was in Canada.
Yeah.
$569 brand new for the OnePlus 11 in black, which has that sandstone texture, so it was kind of a cool feeling on the back.
Yeah.
It's $569, free shipping, obviously, for 128 gig, 8 gigs of RAM. The same storage options as the $599 version of the Nothing phone. The difference was you got a bigger battery.
Yep.
And I posted this subjectively probably better cameras just because they're on their 11th generation.
Yep.
And I mean, probably more software support, I would say. I don't know for sure.
For the Nothing Phone 2?
No, for OnePlus, because I think they guarantee 3 or 4.
100%.
Yeah. And then you get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which we all know has great battery life optimizations, heat dissipation.
Yes.
I don't know. For me, I'm this close to canceling that. Even though I've had the OnePlus already, I'm thinking maybe I was stupid to get rid of it. But the good thing is if you paid, what was it, $799 when it came out, was still a killer deal. You're saving. I don't know. I only have a couple hours left to get it, but you can check, or maybe you guys are listening can check. I think actually OnePlus's website is selling it for $599.
Right.
So the question is,
it's a little cheaper on their website for those who
right? It's not It's not $569, but it's a couple. So the question is being that OnePlus is the Nothing, half their team went over to Nothing and built whatever. It's just a stab in the back to Carl from OnePlus saying, "Ha ha ha, you can get more from us."
Well,
I don't know.
Remember, they're backed by Oppo OnePlus, right? So I mean,
that's true. BBK, all those brands, yeah.
They've got money, like they've got the resources.
A lot more money.
Phone.
Yeah, and they're going to sell 8 times as many phones, so they could take a hit, maybe making, as opposed to $300 a phone, they can take a hit of $150 per phone and still make a profit. That's true. I didn't think about that.
I was wondering, it makes you wonder, like, because I know one of the things that he mentioned is that, they have, in an interview I read with him, they said they have a goal. So they have something they want to get to.
He won't tell you.
He won't. And he didn't say
No.
nothing. He said they had like I think the word was a roadmap, I think is exactly what his words were.
You said the word. He actually said nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's what it was.
Well, I was laughing. Speaking of that, I was watching, what do you call it? The Jerry Rig Everything today. And he said nothing. It was just dead quiet.
I noticed that. I was like, there's a guy who unboxes phones. I don't know what the channel is called. He wears white gloves. I don't know if he's even around anymore. And he never talked. He just put like subtitles. And that's what it gave me vibes of. But did you see when he tried to bend it, how that little part flexed up? Yeah. And he kept, it looked like it was going to break at the antenna band.
Yes.
And he kept doing it, but it didn't break.
No.
So I was hoping it was the one where he took it apart. Yeah.
I thought there was something wrong with my fucking speakers. I'm like, what is going on here? Why is this silent?
He's got he's got a good voice for video. So I'm like, is his microphone broken?
Yeah. He uploaded a video in without any audio, but no.
He did give a thumbs up. He did give a thumbs up.
He did give a thumbs up. This is correct, yes. But I think we all got the joke there. Jerry and everything doing.
It took me a little while. I hate to admit that. I felt kind of stupid. I'm like, oh my God, I'm an idiot.
Well, yeah, it took me a while too. Actually, probably a lot longer than you, which is sad. But I was.
Wow, what's that supposed to? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just saying. Like, I was there for probably a good 5 minutes testing all my earphones and speakers, and thought that I'd kick the plug out or something. But
so the question is, do you cancel your nothing reservation
to get the OnePlus today?
I mean, you don't have to wait that long for the nothing, and you get a free gift, which I'm going to guess is their ear sticks, which I already have.
Yeah,
I'm going to assume it's their cheaper, which they're very. Those are like my best, probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Of that style. I don't know. I've already had the OnePlus, so it's not as exciting for me.
I know we had a conversation about the color because it's like that gray and a white. So I contacted, and here's a good occurrence. I contacted OnePlus today's customer support, and I went through the Canadian website. I'm assuming it's probably not in Canada, it's probably outsourced, but they were very fast to get back to me with my question about if
OnePlus was?
Yes.
So you reached out on Twitter, or you reached out on like?
No, so through their community. They
okay.
Support ticket, whatever.
Yeah.
They were like very fast, and I mean like within 10 to 15 minutes of me.
But what'd you reach out about?
So I asked him if I was able to switch the color because I was starting to and ah about whether I wanted the gray or the white.
That green is nice. That green
is nice. It's nice. So anyway, long story short, I had a lovely little conversation with a guy named Jeff over at OnePlus support.
My name is Jeff.
And he was like, he even said it was funny. Like I couldn't end up switching it, which was fine. I just said, thanks, have a great day. He sent me a very lovely message back. I'm just going to read it out to you what he said because it actually shocked me. It actually felt personal. Like it felt like this guy was legit trying to say, hey, thanks for all your support. But he said here, let me just find it here. He says, "You're most welcome, Darren. I'm glad that out of hundreds of customers we send emails to every day, someone appreciates the effort we put in trying to provide the highest quality of customer service. Customers like you are the reason we strive to do the best at our jobs. Please feel free to reach out again if you have any questions, issues, concerns. We are just an email away, and I'm always happy to assist you." Now,
you know what I hear? Do you know what I hear when I see that so far?
Canned response.
He's got some stuff on his nose. I don't, like a brown nose. But you know what? That's customer support.
Yes.
That's actually pretty good. You don't get that very often. And OnePlus used to be synonymous with like they're in tune with their customers. And I think when Carl left, they kind of lost their way a little bit. Honestly.
Well, here's the funny thing. So I replied back thinking that it was a robo message, and I said, "Hey man, thanks for the message. Keep fighting the good fight." He responded and said, "You too. Enjoy the rest of your day." Now, I thought that was kind of interesting personally. I never had that kind of interactions with
Well, and then you should have said, "Hey, we got this podcast. We'd love to be sponsored by OnePlus.
Yes.
Let's get some phones out there." I'll tell you, I love my Honor. We talked about this the other night. It's right next to me right now.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I got rid of my OnePlus is because I don't hang on to phones very often.
Yeah.
I didn't have one issue with that phone. I just needed to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm so small that I don't get free phones or review units as much. So I've got to pay for them. So I've got to get rid of them when I get them. Unless it's something like the Honor that OnePlus I can get any time in the US. Honor is something I got to import, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
hanging on to it. Honestly, I'm still thinking about it.
So you're thinking you might actually cancel the Nothing.
But here is the issue that I have, and we talked about this yesterday
Yeah.
too. I'm a sucker for new phones,
Yes.
and Red Magic's coming out. I just saw they're going to announce the global version July, I want to say 17th or 19th, sometime in the next week. And I'm down for 24 gigs of RAM, just to say I have
I'd
it.
be curious just to try it to see how.
Have you ever tried one?
No, I never have.
Oh, the 8 and the 7 were fantastically smooth.
Yes.
They again, software is hit or miss, but
Yeah.
the last version 8, I didn't have any major issues except for the camera wasn't fantastic. But,
Yeah. But that's every gaming phone, right? I mean,
and I have multiple phones, so I know, hey, if I'm going somewhere, I need to take pictures. The Honor Pixel, whatever's coming with me. If I'm going to work and I need to blow off some steam, I'm going to have a gaming phone where I can game during a break or something.
So
a break.
Let me ask you. I know we're big fans of it. For the those of you who are listening, the Honor Magic 5 Pro is Tuna and I's probably favorite phone that's been released this year. We're both actually currently using one as one of our devices, but the camera is phenomenal, and I've always had. I know I asked you this question previously about that. So Honor, a lot of these Chinese companies have what's called an AI mode functionality in the camera settings.
Yes.
Which, so for those of you, I'm just going to give you the official description. But AI mode basically adjusts the image on your screen that you want to capture and applies a filter. So basically what it does is it essentially like determines the scene and makes it the best possible looking version of what they think it should look like.
Are you reading what Honor does or AI in general?
I'm gonna do. That's actually, you just read my mind. So
because I'm assuming most companies do something similar, just maybe don't list it that way.
I saw it. You know, that was funny that.
Speaking of AI, we have an AI bot in the waiting room. You want to bring him in?
We have an AI.
I'm kidding.
That would be amazing.
We can ask them questions and see if they're going to take over the world and have them like kind of act nervous and look at each other.
Yeah. Oh my God. A battle, a fight to the death. Well,
have you seen those
that I posted, showed you the other day? Actually.
Well, there's been 2 interviews now where they've had AI chatbots, and it was a live press conference, and people were asking like, "Is there a chance you'll take over for humans?" And they're like, at one point they said no, and one like rolled its eyes and they looked at each other or something. Really, it was. Whatever. Anyways, going back to
that. So, according, this might be a bit of an old article here, but what the AI is said to do is helps you take the best shot possible. Right. Honor uses AI to automatically enhance your photos at all levels of the shooting phase, from the moment you're previewing the image to the viewfinder until after the shot where you're ready to make further edits. So basically, essentially what it's doing is it's using AI technology to enhance the photo without you having to play with it too much. So basically,
and I assume that's what most post-processing is. If you have AI or HDR, whatever Google calls it, it's their version of just their processing overlay of the picture you take.
So the question I was going to ask you, I'm gonna show you a photo now, because I took this photo this afternoon. Earlier today.
Before you post that,
yes,
I have that phone, and there's been a few situations where I've taken a picture and I wasn't sure if I liked the outcome. So I've turned off AI and did it again and liked it better. But I would say there's been less times I've turned it on, and the reason why I turn it on is because I'm in a situation where I don't know if I can adjust it myself the right way.
Yes, so. That's exactly what I was getting at. So the setup here was, my nephew here was playing, I was like, I'm going to snap a quick photo of him. He's going to smile for the camera. So I'm going to show you the photo. I don't usually turn the AI mode on, but for shits and giggles, I did today. And I wish I had a photo for comparison, but I don't. But I just want to kind of, just to piggyback off what you were saying, Tuna, here is the photo.
Okay. So that's with, you're not telling me.
That's with AI mode on.
Okay.
So Honor takes really good photos. I would say in this photo, AI didn't need to be used.
Okay, and I wasn't there for the scene,
Yeah,
obviously. It looks very bright. So
it's a
I'm
very
gonna
bright room, big windows,
okay,
very
so
sunny
it's
day.
supposed to be bright. I was like,
It's
a lot of
yeah,
times I seem like it seems like with Honor, their AI sometimes overblows or
yes, and
overexposes things sometimes.
so that's what I was saying here. We could, like, if you were to compare this to say a pixel photo, you would probably say this was overexposed.
But it's a good photo though. Just
It is a
from
good photo. Oh
glancing,
no, it's
it's a great
brilliantly
photo
sharp,
still. Yeah.
good colors. Like,
Okay.
the skin tone, all that is very, very accurate. Again, it was a very bright room, so I don't know. Like, looking at this photo, if this is really kind of, if it's overblown or if this is actually what it was like, and it leads me to think: is AI mode necessary on the device?
I think it is. And here's why I say
Yeah.
that because again, going back to general consumers, the average user is going to have that turned on.
Yes.
Um, I don't know if you've used that magic motion
Yes,
capture.
I
That's a
have
form of
actually.
AI
Yeah.
as well. And it's
Yeah.
hit or miss too sometimes. In every situation I saw reviews, someone was jumping, but
Yes.
it catches running.
Yeah.
The only issue I had was like at a splash pad. My daughter was like running through, and there's other kids, so it kind of got confused. And if
Yes.
you're doing it, try back to back to back, it would struggle. But I think that is an amazing feature because, like Pixel, I very rarely ever got blurry photos.
Well,
Every other manufacturer, if motion's involved, I get blurry photos. But this Magic with that mode turned on, I mean, I think it messed up maybe twice and it was
well,
blurry.
here's a funny story. So I actually have a photo of me attempting to use that too. So I have a photo that I took here.
Do you have one of those things over your face?
No, no. So this
I'm
was
kidding. I'm kidding.
in I'll just say a school environment. There was a class and I happened to have the phone on me and I just got it. This was actually just when I got the my thing. And I said, okay, I want you to jump in the air. I wanted to see if it would capture the photo. And this is
So
what
you did it for yourself or somebody else?
I was doing this on behalf of the person who asked me to do it. So here is the class. I said, all
Wow.
right, everybody, I just said, everybody jump when you're ready. And 3, 2, 1, they jumped. I didn't tap anything. It automatically picked it up. Not bad. Like almost all feet are off the ground at the same
I see a little blurriness, but I don't think it's meant for a group. So that's pretty impressive. So it had to
Yeah.
find somebody like you see some people really high and some people just getting off the ground.
Yes.
That is actually pretty good. I wonder if you would have told them all to jump on the count of 3 and you snapped a regular picture if you
If
would
it
have
would
got
have
them
worked.
all.
Yeah.
I think with the groups that might have been different, but that's actually pretty good.
Well, I mean, I have a little animation here because this was
Oh, okay, that's cool.
it
Yeah,
took a series of photos.
and that's how it does it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
The
it's
other
kind
question I have for is
say that
never
again,
mind.
sorry.
I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
Oh. No, what I'm getting at is with this whole AI mode that that Honor's using, is it helping the photograph? Now, again, that photo that I showed you just a moment ago of the little boy there, like pretty good. It's a great photo. It really is a really good photo. Like we already have established that the Magic 5 Pro takes amazing photographs. But is AI helping the photo or not? So
I
I'm
would
going to do a
say
little bit more experimenting. We might come back to this topic.
I would say 7 to 8 out of 10 times it's beneficial.
Yes.
I don't think again, it goes back to no phone is perfect. I mean, everyone thinks iPhone is the greatest. And I think if you have 10 people who are using an iPhone in a room and they all take the same picture, of
Yeah.
course they're gonna think it's great. You sit an iPhone, Pixel, Honor, you put them together, you're gonna pixel peep and you're gonna see differences. We talk about this all the time. You go to Best Buy and you see 50 TVs lined up. You're gonna see differences. But you go to Walmart and buy a $200 TCL 4K 50-inch TV, take it home, it's gonna be fantastic because you don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah,
So I
you're
think
not wrong, right?
and I think it's just be happy with what you got.
Yeah.
The difference between you and me and everyone else, and I'm not saying there's a huge difference, is that I go through a lot of phones and so do you. So we know what we like and we've seen things that we don't like.
Yeah.
And I've seen really cheap phones have 108 megapixel cameras and they are trash.
Yes.
And then I see phones like this and it was expensive, but I'm glad I spent the money. There's been times when I spent plenty of money and Samsung S23 Ultra, there was plenty of times. The only thing I really loved about that phone out of every camera I've ever owned was the zoom. That 10x optical zoom was just fantastic. This has what, 5, I think, and it works.
It's pretty good. Like in good lighting, if you max it out with hybrid zoom, you can get some
It
pretty good
is,
shots.
but like Samsung, like we had the super moon. I don't know if you saw that. It was like last week. It's orange, real large. And my daughter was used to me having my Samsung, and she goes, "Take a picture of it." Well, I said, "I don't have that phone anymore." So I pulled the Honor out, and it did not do near good a job. But we all know that Samsung was using advanced AI to kind of trick. And my fear was if I had the S23 and I pointed at that orange moon, would it came out gray?
Yes.
So it wouldn't have mattered. At least this phone showed an orange-ish moon with AI on.
We had this conversation about the S23 Ultra because, listen, I know we're getting to July here, August. We're in full swing of smartphone season, and people are already starting to put together their thoughts about what's going to be the phone of the year. Like this is the midway point. Now, a lot of people are going to say the S23 Ultra, and I think that would be a flawed conclusion.
I actually don't think it's a bad one, though, because it is a very well-rounded phone. It exceeds in some spots, but if I was going to recommend a phone to Joe off the street, I probably would recommend not the Ultra, but an S23, just because the price point's decent, and you're getting most of the top-end specs and really good cameras, because the Honor phone isn't readily available here. So it's no point in giving them the honor of honoring them, whatever.
Well, it's funny because, the Magic 5 Pro global version, like the one that we have, is available in the UK. So
it is. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I think I know we talked about this one. Like, I mean, I know I think it would probably win some awards, at the end of the year for
the Honor would.
The Honor would, yeah.
I know we brag about DxO not being great, but it was top of DxO for a while. I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
it's only been eclipsed by the X6 Pro by Oppo, and I think the Honor 90 maybe is at the top. I have no idea, but
Huawei, maybe Huawei's. But the thing about Huawei is that's a moot point because without Google services, that's a dead phone to me. I don't live in China, so it's to them it may be beneficial, but I don't know. This is my favorite phone. I just wish that I could get VoLTE or Wi-Fi calling and make it and get it officially supported in AT&T. And that goes back to nothing. We have Sam on the show once in a while, and one of his biggest pet peeves was I had the Nothing one in beta.
Yes.
And it wasn't certified for AT&T, but it worked. So I put the AT SIM in there. Everything worked, but it only got 4G.
Right.
T-Mobile, 5G, everything worked. The Honor, I put my AT&T SIM card in there. I get 5G.
Yeah.
I get messaging, but I can't make phone calls, which is synonymous with, I think part of their whitelist process with AT&T is if they can't do Wi-Fi calling or they can't utilize 4G LTE to swap off or whatever that is. That's the issue. And there used to be a way with Xiaomi phones where you could force VoLTE with a dial code. I know, and I tried so hard with this Honor.
Yeah.
And none of those, it doesn't even have the menu pop up. It just, you type it in on the dial pad and it goes away.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. Wi-Fi calling, I mean, it would be nice, but for me, not that necessary.
No, it's not important, but it's important for me to have it to work on AT&T. That's the only reason why I want it. Because I'm using it on T-Mobile right now and I don't have Wi-Fi calling, but I can make phone calls.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I mean, I have the same issue here in Canada. Like my provider doesn't recognize the Honor.
But it works.
But it works absolutely fine.
5G too?
I got 5G. I just don't have Wi-Fi calling and I don't have voice over LTE.
Okay. All right.
So those are the biggest issues when it comes to the Honor, right? That's kind of where it's at. Hey, Delvon, well, thanks for joining us, bud.
Who is that guy? Who is that?
What's going on, man?
I haven't seen this guy in a while.
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger.
Prodigal son returns.
There you go. There you go.
So, Delvon, we're just talking halfway point of the year. People talking about, starting to think about what will be the phone of the year. And we both agree that the S23 Ultra, which I know you're a big fan of, while good, it would be a flawed conclusion to call that phone of the year. I would argue it's Jack of all trades of the year award. What are your thoughts on that?
The only thing I would say is that right now it's the phone to beat.
Yes.
I can say that honestly. It's
I agree.
To beat. Right now, Samsung launched that phone, and right now if we stop right now, it's definitely the best phone of the year. But we got to give the other companies a chance.
You're talking about on Android though, right? Just Android?
Yeah.
Or all together?
No, because if we're being realistic, Apple and Android does not really compete with each other. People who buy Apple are going to buy Apple. People who buy Android are going to buy Android. Me, a person who is on Android, it is more likely that I would jump to a different Android phone before I jump to an iPhone.
Yes.
But it was not likely that an iPhone person would jump to an Android phone because they feel it's better. I mean, because technically, if you think about it, Android phones always have offered better and more. So if that's not already enticing them to switch, then no. So yes, when I'm saying this, I'm saying in the Android world, yes, it will be, the phone of the year so far. But once the competitors come out, then we can really determine that. Even though, I know I love my Pixel, even last year I voted the S22 Ultra as the phone of the year. And, that's because of the whole jack of all trades thing. Because if I think about an average person and with their needs, that might fit a lot of people versus me.
And I think it depends on where you live too, because in the US, he's like 100% right. That is probably one of the better phones.
Yeah.
Me and Dan were talking about how we love the Honor Magic 5 Pro, but it's not available here in the US, so it's like a moot point for us. And no one's ever heard of Honor. They're gonna be like, "What the hell is that? Is that some budget brand? It's $100."
Yeah.
So in the UK, and in the UK, they've got Oppo, Reno, Vivo, and then they've got access to all that stuff. And I would still say Samsung's probably in the top 3, 4, even in the UK.
Yeah.
I think Samsung owns the globe. I'm gonna be honest with you, they do, and there's no denying that. They pretty much own every market because they're in like almost every market and dominate them.
And they're synonymous with Android. When you think of Android, you don't think Sony. You don't think you can't think LG. Pixel maybe, but Samsung. It's Samsung and Motorola. I think. I mean, Motorola sells enough budget phones to be known.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think when the average consumers think like that, that's where the biggest problem is, because us techies know that Samsung is not Android. We know it's Google, right? But the average person doesn't know, and there's more of them than us. So if they're thinking that, then that's what we have to roll with. To be honest with you, we can't sit here and preach to every last one. I'm like, yo, man, Google is Android, not Samsung. I mean, it'd be a never-ending fight.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Just like what you said earlier about the iPhone cameras. I was watching him, by the way, while I was eating. You were talking about the iPhone cameras, how when they have nothing to compare it to, everyone's like, it's good as good. But then since you start comparing it, that's when you start noticing that it ain't as great as you think it is. And that's true, because most iPhone users are iPhone users that's iPhone users, and they're like, oh, it looks good because it looks good on all iPhones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when they hear you have an Android, they're like, that's crap. That's peasant. That's peasant status.
Listen, this whole, I know this is a young, iPhones are a young person's game. And what I mean by that is, if you're young and you're under the age of 25, if you don't have an iPhone, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Well, I'm under the age of 25, and I have an Android phone. Okay, I lied. I'm 26. I'm sorry.
You're youthful looking though.
Right.
But again, and that one's right. For people that are fans, and for anyone under the age of 25, you're not using an iPhone, you're nothing. But more importantly, when it comes to things like the camera, they don't know any different. They just don't.
They don't.
Like, it's somebody, like, example, let's say you drank Pepsi your entire life. You have no idea what other brands have to offer if you refuse to try anything else, right? Like, you would not know what Coke tastes like, or Sprite, or 7-Up, or whatever. It's just not the same. But that's kind of the ignorant thinking of a lot of consumers, because they go with what they know, instead of taking risks like we do on new technology, which sometimes might pay off, sometimes might not.
But is it ignorant? I mean, that's general consumers in general. I mean, that's what they do. Yeah. They stick with a brand. It's like, I'm a Ford guy. I'm going to buy Ford the rest of my life. Or I'm a Honda. You stick with brands and you're like loyal to that brand. That's why I think if cell phone companies like Xiaomi can build, and OnePlus used to build like a fan base like Apple has, that's how you're going to be successful. And that's where I think nothing has the upper hand on the OnePlus, because OnePlus has kind of lost their way. They still make fantastic phones at really good prices, especially right now. But I think nothing has that momentum. Like, hey, we're different. We have Octopus. on our
Yes.
press pictures.
Yeah.
We got bugs, selling our, and it's a cool thing. Even their presentation was very. Did you ever watch it, Darren? Did you go back and watch?
Yeah, it was very impressive.
It's different, and it wasn't like in your face and inventing all these things. He just said, "Look, we got an LPTO screen. It goes one. It's not new. It's a 1080p screen. It is what it is." I'm still thinking about canceling though and going with that OnePlus 2K screen.
Well, I mean, also the better processor.
I will change my mind though, since Dalvon works for Google. If he can hook me up with a Fold, I'd be considered.
Well, I'm trying to get at least like 4 of them, and I'm gonna pass them out.
Well, I'm glad you joined us, Dalvon, because I was just messaged Tuna earlier today. So some of the YouTubers that are out there are now starting to see some of the battery results of the Pixel Fold.
And heat.
And heat issues, and they're not happy. And I know yours is incoming this week or next week?
Next week.
Next week. Now, I
know you're talking about the retail version? Your retail version? Because you already have the developmental version, right? Right. The dev one. Right.
Yeah.
Does that make you concerned, Dalvin? Or are you kind of like the Pixel? No. I kind of know.
Not at all. Zero concern at all whatsoever. What would concern me, the only thing in smartphone history that has ever concerned me was the Samsung Note 7, because that was a real widespread situation.
It was blowing up.
Sitting here listening to, it was blowing up literally. And I mean, everyone, not regular, not YouTubers. We're talking about average consumers, and it hit widespread. We have YouTubers saying the same story that they said about the Pixel 6, the Pixel 7 series, and such and such and such. Battery heat recording. And I never had any of those issues on my Pixels.
Yep, same here.
So therefore, whatever they say doesn't bother me at all whatsoever. I think this is why a lot of my users or my fans like to hear from me, because they feel like that I'm being more realistic, I guess. And I'm not saying that they're not having those issues, right? But I realistically use my phone as an average consumer 90% of the time. I'm not doing this extra testing for no reason like they're doing. I'm not going to go out here and do this and do that, blase, and then try to say, oh, it ain't working under these extreme conditions. Now, get it. If I'm just using my phone on social media and it's heating up consistently, then there may be something wrong with my phone. And I probably would say that, and then get another one, and then get another one, and get another one. But I won't keep using the same phone and trying to talk bad about it. Like, again, I never had any of these issues that they claim that's happening on these Pixels, and I'm not saying they're not true, but it would never, like, I'm just one of the people I gotta buy it and test it for myself. So,
and that's a good point. He makes a good point, because there was a tech guy I watched. He's not very big, but he said battery life seems to be better. Like, they optimize software, and software goes a long way. But MKBHD, Captain 2 phone, these guys their average day is they're shooting 4 hours of video and then tweeting, and then Delvon, are you actually going out there and, like, I almost said duo, chatting with people and then shooting 6 hours of videos and photos? No, the average person, it's not going to be. We know it's not going to give you 8 days of battery life, and it's not going to be fantastic, and it might have some heating issues. But I'm with Delvon. My 7 Pro never had an overheating issue, but I don't shoot a lot of video with myself. I usually do photos only. I do very little video on a phone. But that's what I'm saying. You got to make a decision based on your usage. That's why it's so subjective, just like pictures and cameras. iPhones are fantastic for photos. I'm not trying to diminish that, but there's other options that could be better or worse based on what you shoot and what you need. And that Honor Magic 5 Pro has badass camera system.
Yeah, it does.
And it's not spectacular. It's a 50 megapixel, no 1-inch sensors. It's all about processing. It goes back to that 90% processing, 10% lenses and sensors.
I mentioned this last week too, because I had the Xiaomi 13 Pro, which has that 1-inch sensor. I think 1-inch sensors are fucking overhyped. I'll be honest with you. Like, they have great clarity and sharpness, but I wasn't seeing, like, I know this comes down to probably post-processing more than anything, and Dalvon might be able to agree with me here, but with the Xiaomi, I didn't see any noticeable improvement in picture quality over the Pixel 7 Pro. I didn't see any noticeable picture quality over the Honor Magic 5 Pro. It seemed very overhyped. And I know I don't come from the world of photography. I know Dalvon might be able to answer this, but realistically, is a 1-inch sensor going to make that much of a difference on a smartphone?
I'm gonna say yes and no, and I'm gonna tell you for the reasons. Post-processing is still AI technology that's being used to post-process these pictures automatically as we take them. And keep in mind, if I had a 1-inch sensor on the camera and I'm shooting raw and I'm taking it and I got to come back and I got to post-process it. So then I process it the way I want it to be processed. Now, when you're talking about a phone, it's being automatically done. So even if it has a 1-inch sensor, the company has to know how to make good processing. They got to know how to process an image really good and everything. Now, the benefit to a 1-inch sensor, if the company's using it right, is really the bokeh and a low light performance.
Yes,
that's what's going to that should be what you see. Image quality will always depend on the quality of that sensor, the quality of the processing. To be honest with you, because cell phones rely on that heavy versus a camera.
Right.
So yeah, I think you're right about the overhype, but then at the same time, giving that to somebody like Google may really change your mind about it, because we know that they're very good at processing. Samsung will be okay at it. You'll probably get some really nice bokeh shots, but colors will be wrong. The iPhone, same thing. Colors will be bad and probably look, the bokeh will probably look good. And then, the person will look orange or yellow, based on their, because as you know, we know that Samsung is, they oversaturate their processing, and Apple is kind of leaning towards warm colors, and Google is kind of spot on a little bit. I'm not going to say 100% spot on, but they come the closest out of the three, at least here in the US. So yeah, the 1-inch sensor, I'm excited about them, but I'm only excited about them coming to a phone that I know that Mike can take advantage and use that to their advantage, and not more so all these other phones out there.
To piggyback on what Dalvon said, the 1-inch sensor is great, but I feel like when they overhype something, it kind of loses a little bit of the magic. Like the Honor didn't really tout what sensor size it was, but it's really good. The other thing is, I hate saying this term, but general users are going to use that phone and they're going to point it at something and snap. A 1-inch sensor is going to have a hell of a lot of natural bokeh, like Dalvon's saying. Yeah. So the focus area is going to be a lot smaller, and they're going to take it as, oh, why is it so blurry? And that's because of the sensor, not because of the processing. And I think that's where things are lost. So I think it goes back again. If you're going to put a 1-inch sensor in a Pixel device, it's going to have some hella processing for the general public, and then give the creators the more pro version so they can get that natural bokeh that they want. That's the biggest issue I have with 1-inch sensors, is that when I go shoot a picture of something close up, everything's blurry but that little center spot, because that natural bokeh is so pronounced, and a lot of people don't like that. So I mean, that's
to answer your question too, now. So with the Magic 5 Pro, I believe it's almost a 1-inch sensor, like as close you can get before.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, and I mean, look, I'm just going based on what I read there, but Dalvon, I know. So you have the S23 Ultra, you have the Pixel 7 Pro. Yeah, but there you go. Okay, so Dalvon, I know if you had to, including the Pixel 7 Pro.
Don't tell Google.
Head to head, best camera phone to take out with you as a general consumer right here, right now. Which one are you handing it to?
I mean, that's easy. It's going to be Samsung. I mean, not Samsung. It's going to be the Pixel.
I knew it.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me explain, because I know you're going to think that I'm a Pixel.
No, I agree with you.
You know Pixel, but let me explain why though. It's because of that shutter. It's literally because of that shutter. If Samsung had a better shutter, I would say Samsung right now. Even with the bad colors and some of the processing, I don't even care, because the average consumer don't care how photos look like we do. We're a little bit more nitpicky, but they don't really care. But what they will care about is their photos coming out blurry. That's what they will care about the most. So I think that for the average person, 100% Pixel, just because they know the confidence is when they click it, if the subject is moving or whatever, it's going to freeze. They're going to catch it. For Samsung, no. So that's the only reason why.
And here's the thing: you work for Google, but you need. I saw your tweets or a video I watched of yours where you pointed out why Samsung's videos aren't as quick. Something with the aperture setting or something like that, or shutter speed or something. You need to contact Samsung Mobile and say, "Hey, look, I'm from Google. Here's why your photo's blurry." They will listen to you and they will make those changes on the software. Even with that, what's that mode that they entered with the good lock system, that camera plus? It did not change a damn thing. No, it didn't ruin it, but it wasn't any better. In my opinion, it wasn't any better.
No, I noticed when you activated that good lock setting, the image quality went down the fucking shitter. It was horrible afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I went ahead and like disabled it on mine. I just like, cause I didn't see no true benefit to it. It's like you had to use a plug-in or attachment to try to make your camera better. Just make it better. Like, it's not that complicated to just increase the shutter speed, and it's not even that it's the shutter speed. It's like their algorithm is choosing the wrong shutter speed.
Right.
You know, and that's the problem, because I talked about that in my videos. Like, I took several pictures of like the same situation, and the shutter speeds are either slower or faster. It's like a dramatic difference, and I'm like, why is it so dramatic? And if you look at my iPhone or my Pixel, it's always a fast shutter speed, and they do all the heavy processing to give you the light and everything else that you need.
That's why I follow your. That's why I follow you, because you actually do a deep dive on that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the meat and potatoes of why it's not doing that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people are not. A lot of these other YouTubers, they're just out here and you got to keep in mind, when you watch these videos, they're just taking pictures of still objects the whole time.
Right.
Just
right.
clips and stuff like that. And I seem to be like the only person I have to see on YouTube and online that's mostly taking pictures of people. Because I'm a portrait photographer, so I like to engage with people. And a lot of my pictures come from that. And that's the true definition of testing the camera out, because people take pictures of people. If you look at somebody's phone, they're taking way more pictures of like dogs, cats, pets, people.
It depends, because Darren takes pictures of things that he shouldn't and sends them to people he shouldn't.
That's true.
And it's hard to get focus, you know.
Yeah, I need a great camera for that.
He's a macro camera, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I knew it was coming.
I said those words out of my mouth. I was like, the macro joke is coming.
Oh,
yes,
no.
Macro does help a lot. You want to get a nice close up there. Macro, we've talked a little bit about Zenfone. We've talked a little bit about the camera's 1-inch sensors, Honor, Pixel, and everything in between,
and nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So right now, it looks like all roads lead to the final big release of this year, or the final two big releases of this year, which look like the Folds and the iPhone 15. So is the iPhone this year going to move the needle? And what I mean by that is, are they coming out, like when it comes to things like camera and performance, stuff like that, do you think they've figured their shit out now, especially when it comes to their HDR?
Doesn't matter.
I do. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. I did see people who are on iOS 17 is showing actual progression in the HDR.
Yes.
So that's a leap and bound for Apple users, but it's nothing new to the Android world. So I'm going to go with 2&A and agree. They're not going to, no, I don't think Apple's going to make any leap and bounds.
What do you mean? You can tap phones and share contacts now. That's the most amazing feature ever.
Oh, you know what? You're right, because I remember never ever being able to do that on my Android phone ever.
Yeah.
It's not. Here's what. Okay, I know. I don't want to get too off track, but it's like they have a small feature like dynamic, whatever that island was, and then they have this tap feature to share, and it's like I actually saw someone post on Twitter a slow motion of the animation. Yeah. Great. The animation is beautiful, but who the hell calls each other anymore? Does anybody even call each other anymore? And you don't need to. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I do, but the younger generation text or iMessages or.
I will look, man. Look, I'm not going to deny it's okay. One, let's just put the elephant in the room. It ain't new tech. It ain't nothing new. It's something that Samsung did a long time ago, and other companies probably had done it also, right? It's nothing new. Is it new to Apple users? Yes, sure, right? Is it going to be something like groundbreaking, useful to everyone? Hell no. Like literally no. I don't think that everyone's going to be like taking their phone and look at that.
That just looks terrible.
I don't see that happening because people are still probably just be like, "Yo, what's your phone number?" And they're gonna type it in, or they're on social media like 2 So I don't think there's anything groundbreaking. See, that's why I love Google a little bit more than most of these companies, because Google are creating features that kind of sits in the background that works without you having to do anything. And to do that tap thing, you have to think about doing that with the next person and ask that, because you got to engage more and be like, "Hey, can you blah 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 blah." Like today, there's a good example today. Today, I had I booked a reservation for this place called Teals, like an arcade, right? And I built a reservation for that. They literally called me back, and Google screened my call to see what they were trying to say, and I seen it like up here live what they were trying to say. And then Google realized that it's a person trying to reach me, a real person. So it rung my phone. And then I answered, and it was like, "Hey, so
yes."
I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to do anything. I just seen my phone light up, and I seen like this transcription going across my screen. I'm like, "Oh, somebody's trying to call me." Because it popped up here at the top, was like unknown caller. And then then you start seeing what they were talking about. And I'm just sitting here like, this is the type of stuff that Google is doing. But what Apple did with that is like, cool, but I don't
but Google, and Google's doing it. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Sorry, I was messing with my pitch here a little bit. Sorry. So they are actually doing things behind the scenes, like you say, but they're also promoting them. But it's what people can actually use. I'm not saying tap to share contact isn't something you're going to use. I think if you're an Apple user, you're going to be, "Oh my God, now we can all even be more even closed-minded and not include Android devices." But I think, like you said, call screening. Have you ever had an issue where call screening? Because I know when I had my Pixel, I was sacrilegious. I sold my Pixel 7 Pro because I was going to get the Fold. And I canceled that too. But anyways, do you think that, like, have you ever had an issue where call screen? Because I've had issues where it didn't even ring because I knew it was spam right off the rip. Have you ever had a situation where it denied a phone call that you needed to take?
Oh no! Well, if it did, I wouldn't know. It's so good.
And would you know? Would you even know? That's the question.
No, you wouldn't know.
And if you didn't miss it, then I guess it wasn't that important, I guess, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it'll happen. I don't personally think it happened because any important phone calls I can remember, I got them all. If you think about it.
You're right.
Right. But you do make a point, though. But I think Google does a really good job at filtering that, because I literally haven't had an issue about it. Because even that phone number that called me, right? It wasn't short. It did tell me it was an unknown caller, but at the same time, it went ahead and went through the screen process and let them know what they were trying to say, and then it rung. Then it rung and let me answer. And again, there are situations like what you said. It won't even ring, but it will show up and let me know that it was a spam call after the fact. And I look and I'm like, okay, got it. And did a good job. So
it's making a lot of sense now, because I've reached out to you multiple times to get that Pixel Fold, and it keeps going to like, "Oh, this is Google screening your call." I'm like, man, I guess I got the wrong number. It must have been Google's fault, right?
Yeah, it's Google's fault, definitely. But I think they really do a good job. I'm really shocked how good of a job they actually do that, because you're right, because they can make a mistake and give screen the call that you've been waiting on all day, but they do a really good job at it. And I love.
Do you still have a tablet? Do you still have the Google tablet?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. 60 hertz ain't so bad, is it?
It really is.
Oh, it is.
Hey, don't let me fool you, just because I love it. Don't look, bro. I'm reminded about that 60 hertz every time I pick up their tablet, bro. Trust me.
I thought about selling some of my Google came out and said they're not going to support any third-party Google screens anymore, like JBL, Lenovo, and that's all. I only have 2 Nest Mini hubs, and one has a cracked screen because my daughter dropped it on the floor. It's a small one.
Oh my goodness!
It was like it's sitting in her. It's like her nightstand clock, and our robot vacuum sucked the cable and pulled it down. That's the story she's telling me. I don't know if I believe it. Anyways, so I thought about selling maybe I have the large Lenovo that came out, was one of the first assistants that came out, and I've noticed the updates aren't coming anymore because the Nest ones have different features now. So I thought about selling it
Yeah.
like the JBL and 2 of them and getting that because it doubles as a tablet and you can kind of walk around the house. And Best Buy has open box ones for $20-$30 off already.
Yeah.
I can't jump on it yet. I don't know if it's worth the money. Tens or 2 overheats and it's short battery life. Come on.
Stop it. Stop it. I'm going to tell you right now, I love this tablet, and I'm so mad at Google for not putting 90 hertz up there at least. Like, that is like, it's not a deal breaker, but it's like, wow, this thing could have been so good. And I think that it would have been in line with Galaxy iPads and the Samsung tablets. And I don't mean the sense of power. I mean of the sense of just tablet usability, right? If you're not trying to edit and build a YouTube channel off this thing, because you got to think about it. Take all that out of the equation, because that's not everyone, right? That's only a level people. Take all that out of the equation. It's a good tablet for everything else, for literally everything else. You can game on it, watch movies on it, enjoy. You can really watch movies and enjoy this on better than any tablet right now because of that dock. The dock is just changes movie viewing.
Are the speakers good on the dock?
They are really good.
See, I've heard they're crap.
Yes. On the dock, yes. Off the dock, no.
I don't expect the ones off the dock to be great anyway.
Yeah. But it's still a tablet, right? So you would imagine.
Yeah. I think look at it like this. Off the dock, it still sounds good, but it is teeny compared. Let me say this again.
Yeah.
Compared. When you compare it, that's when you notice the flaw in the speaker. But if you just only have a Pixel tablet in your house, it's not even going to cross your mind. That is bad.
So like what I said earlier, if you have 10 tablets next to, you're going to notice differences in build quality. But if you know what you're buying the Pixel tablet for, you're not buying it as the creation device. It's to enjoy content, to be your Google Home Assistant. Yeah, I agree. Maybe I should pick up. Man, Delvon, now you got me wanting to buy the tablet and the Fold again. Damn.
Well, I mean, maybe Tuna, you should just buy the Fold and the tablet.
Can we block certain YouTubers from watching this video, aka my wife?
Yeah. Man, look, man. When major YouTubers get onto these products, man, they really tear these products apart from the average consumer because they're thinking they always got to think on a larger scale than the average person, right? Like, why does the Pixel tablet need to be like a video editing tablet? Why do it got to be a photo editing tablet? I mean, it can definitely do both, right? We know it can because Sensor can do both, but they want to bring it to a scale of like iPad level when it comes to this stuff, and they're just comparing it wrong. I even heard YouTubers say it's just a hub. No, this is not a hub. This thing is more of a tablet than a hub. 100% more of a hub than a tablet.
But do you blame them? Their job is to compare a bunch of equipment. So they're going to have their opinions, and their usage is totally different than mine or yours or Darren's. So I can see them, but they got to preference it by saying that, like, look, this is not a creation device. I make videos on my iPad Pro 12.9 M2 $10,000 tablet. This is not that, but it's okay. They have to say that. That's my opinion.
I have a theory, and I've been thinking about this for some time now. So the G2 Tensor that Google has in their tablets and their folding device.
Best chip ever.
Yeah, so it was their second version of the chipset. First one probably cost them an arm and a leg to get made, right? Mass production, etc. The second one, I imagine, is probably not that much cheaper, but they probably thought people would buy into it more because it was the second generation. Do you think these are just the leftover chipsets from the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro?
No. I think they developed maybe the Pixel, the tablet, but the Fold, I think they've been in development for a while because I was told, I shouldn't say I was told, I've read that this device has been like scrapped and brought back. And this last device they just released was developed with a G2, and it doesn't sound like much. We'll just upgrade to a G3 or T3 or whatever it's called. But it's not that simple because everything changes. So I think they thought, hey, look, we had this in development for a year. Let's kick it out. Yeah, we know it's a little bit older of a chipset.
Yeah.
But the majority of the reviews I've seen have been, I would say, if you look at a percentage of 100%, 0 being terrible and 100% being the best, I would say 75 to 80% is what I would see people will give that. They say the form factor is perfect, the screen folded, and that's what I'm looking at. The software is optimized perfectly. The biggest issue, even the cameras, they're not Pixel 7 Pro, but they're fantastic. That's why I sold my Pixel 7 Pro, because I can get the fold, get the Pixel cameras that I want, and have the fold. But then I got scared with the Dustin, that one guy on Ars Tech's website, and then someone said it's kind of like the original fold. I remember pre-ordering that original fold from Samsung, and everyone was pulling off the damn screen protector. And you know what? I never had one problem. Now, have you guys seen the people? I saw a video. I didn't watch it. Someone pulled the screen protector off the Pixel.
Yep.
And said it looks better because it's more matte. Why the hell would you do that on an $1,800 device? Unless you got it for free. But from what I understand, Team Pixel didn't get these devices.
No.
I'm not Team Pixel. I'm Team. Please get me in Pixel, and I didn't get one. So.
Well, I mean, look. At the end of the day, I think no matter the Pixel Fold has been, I would, so far from what I've seen, successful in the release. Now we're starting to see some concerns over battery stuff, but again, that's all very isolated. And you can, like Dale once said, you always have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. A lot of the time, it's bullshit, and people, trying to make something way more. Use it way more than they need to make, just to see how quickly they can make it fail, so they can make a clickbait video.
Well, hey, I feel like you're closing this out. Before you do, if I decide to go ahead and order this fold, how angry would you be? Delvon, I'm not kidding. I've ordered this damn phone like 7 times and canceled it.
Yeah,
and I even got an email today from Google saying, "Hey, that free Pixel Watch is still available. Please order it." I'm like, yeah, if I want to get it in October, I'll order from you. Then the 8 will be out. So,
well, look, I mean, Tuna, I don't have access to it, so I'll have to live vicariously through you and Delvon.
I kind of want to buy it just to piss you off.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally playing.
You know what? Send a tweet out to Google Canada and tell them to bring it the fuck here, because it should have been released in Canada.
Well, the problem is I don't live in Canada, so that's not going to affect me.
That's true. You know what? I'm just going to blame it on the weather. It's too cold for a folding device here.
That's exactly what it is.
Too brittle.
Right.
All right. Well, listen, on that note, we're going to wrap up tonight's podcast.
What was that, Delvon?
Oh, I said compared to other YouTubers, it might be an oven for you, so you might want
it.
Wait, can I make grilled cheese with it? That's the video I'm making. Can you make grilled cheese with a G2? It folds. It's like a panini press.
It's going to be awesome in there. Get some melted cheese on the screen.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
Get that off.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, thank you very much, Delvon, Tuna, for joining us on tonight's podcast. Thank you everybody who was posting, Sam, Bonnie, all those guys here saying hi. We appreciate you all, and we will be back again next week with all the latest, greatest tech news and things. Maybe Tuna, maybe Delvon will have his fold by then. Maybe he can join us and rub it in our faces. And
hey, if you like to talk tech, shoot Darren or me a message.
Yeah,
with Twitter or whatever, and we can get you in here. We could talk some tech.
Yeah, we would love to have you come join us and give your thoughts for sure, 100%. Reach out to us. You can catch us on Twitter, YouTube, OnlyFans, all of those fun places. All right. On that note, we will catch you on the next one. Thank you very much, and all the best, guys. Thank you.
Peace, guys.
All right. Peace.